products from gyms is why we are so expensive. Has been a lot of this on social media lately, apparently.
Well, actually, as I said this morning, we have a pretty strict policy that we don't require our franchisees to buy from us. In fact, if any franchisor, we did find one franchisor in the past who was doing this, was actually putting a margin on stuff they were buying in the Diggers division, and one of the reasons they're no longer divisional franchisors. So it's actually not true. Now, the fact that there's rumours floating around is neither here nor there, but I'd challenge anybody to show this is happening at any level. It's actually a big thing. We do at times require people to buy a certain quality of goods. For example, if you want to put an antenna up, you can't buy a cheap Chinese knockoff, which will not do the job as well. But if you can get something that's the same quality as the one that's recommended, well then, go for your life.
Yeah, it's a third line forcing issue, isn't it? It's called third line forcing, which is
Well, some franchises do that kind of stuff. I know at McDonald's you can't just buy your supplies from anyone. McDonald's don't actually make any money out of it too, so they have a very ethical system. But in our case, we just simply say, as long as it's the same quality, anything you want.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty active on socials, and I've never seen that or us tagged in anything as well. So I'd love to see whether franchisees seeing that to show us, so I can actually see what it is.
Look, there's a lot of negativity out there. I think sometimes, you know, it's all great and fun being gyms, but competitors feel pretty stretched at times. They really feel we're a juggernaut. And you know, it's because there's 4,000 plus individual people, so sometimes they resent us, and you can't blame them for it. But you know, there's good quality independents out there, and you know, God bless them. In fact, when COVID came last year, and we were shut down in Victoria by our beloved Premier, I actually spoke up not just for our own people, but for all the independent contractors. I was spokesman. Many of them actually wrote and thanked me for that, because there was nobody else able to speak for that particular group in the community. So yeah, people don't always like us, but we try and look after them anyway.
Absolutely. So we'll get a couple more questions that came through online. So we do have an Ask Jim on our website where people do submit questions. And I've got a couple of good ones which we decided to hold over. So let's go to two, then we'll go to everyone in the audience with their questions. Now this guy must have been very young, so this is a bit of a joke one. From Alec, he's gone, snag rolls or meat pies, what do you like?
Well, I'm basically vegetarian, so I'm sorry.
No, so neither. What about vegetarian pie? Have you ever tried one of them?
I don't even like the taste of meat very much. I eat a bit of seafood.
Right.
But an occasional tiny bit of chicken, but I don't really like the taste of meat, so that's not much of an answer, is it?
So neither. Must have been from a young fella, that one. And another one from a young person, I reckon. This is from Nicholas Village. He goes, how old are you? Why do you have no beard? And can I stroke your beard? So if he's asking you why you got no beard, that's the question right here. That's what came by.
Well, even if I had a beard, the answer to the last question would be no. Apart from my wife, I don't think anybody's going to get that close to me. I turned 69 this month, actually, so there you are, 70 next year. Why don't I have a beard? Well, I've answered this question many times, but it's all to do with women. Like other men, isn't that right, guys? I'm totally controlled by women. When I was younger, I had a fiancée who liked beards, and so I grew a beard to keep her happy. 21 years ago, I found myself single, not through my own choice, and it was starting to go a bit grey. I don't need to look any older than that if I'm going to find a wife, so off it came. So nothing to do with anything else but women.
There's the story. So
I'm very happily married for 20 years now, so there's no desire to change that.
So we have a lot of questions and comments coming online, which is fantastic, so keep pumping them in there, and we'll get to some questions online if you're doing it. Ed Sutherland's gone, are you doing more TikTok videos? Absolutely, Ed. So we're doing a lot more of that with Jim doing stuff. I think you out there having a go at Blackberry's got around 150,000 views.
Yeah,
just on TikTok, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, they like some of the stuff. I like the one where I smashed the. How many did the one where I smashed the rowing machine with the sledgehammer?
That's on 40,000 now when I've uploaded it there.
Really?
Yeah.
So I did better with the Blackberries than the sledgehammer.
Absolutely by a mile. I think you doing gardening stuff is the stuff that does well.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll do more of it. Cool. All right. So we've got first up question here from Wendy. Where is Wendy?
Hi Jim, this one's actually from our daughter when she found out we were coming down here. Why did you call gyms? I mean, apart from the obvious reason.
Well, because it was my name.
Yeah, no. Well,
Actually, my name isn't Jim at all. It's David James, but I've always used my middle name since I was about 19. Yeah, when I was originally Jim's mowing was because Jim was mowing lawns, and I used to put my face on the leaflets. Yes. We used to put in letterboxes, and I found it got a better response for some reason. I don't know why anybody should want my face on it. but they just liked it.
And just a shorter name.
So I just called it after myself because originally it was me.
Yeah.
You've got to understand this whole thing never started out being what it is now. The idea of becoming a household name is just would have been incredible. Just wouldn't have even crossed my mind that such a thing would be possible. So it was just Jim's mowing because Jim was mowing. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Excellent question, Wendy. Now we've got, I just want to mention one thing real quickly as well, the trade day. So if anyone who's Jim's Group in Melbourne or even want to come interstate, make sure you come to the Jim's Group trade day, which is going to be, I think it's the 29th of June, or is it the 2nd of July? 29th of June, which is at head office here. Think of it like the Jim's Royal Show. It's going to have show bags, it's going to have all these supplies,
giveaways.
A lot of giveaways.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, tens of thousands of dollars of prizes. So if you can't
We've
come
got
to
over
that,
$100,000 worth of sponsorship, so we're actually going to be able to give some really good stuff. We're going to go with bulging show bags.
there's going to be amusement rides and all this sort of stuff here.
Free, nice food, everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Jumping castles and everything.
So if you want to come
Yes!
to that, so if you want to come to that, make sure you go to our, you can go
There's
to
a
our
video,
Facebook page.
if you want to see, there's a video of me in a jumping castle going down the slide.
There
You
is?
should watch, get your mum and dad to show you that one.
So if you want to come to that, make sure you there's a form which you have to complete, which is on our events page on Facebook or the Jim's Mowing Facebook page as well. But Jim's Group Events, looked up there, you can fill in the form, and we hope to see you there as well. And and Rocky also wanted me to mention as well about electric cars. Based on, he said we can get your electric car based on last Jim. So he's got your Renault coming for 2 weeks as a trial.
Yeah, and they reckon Tesla's going to be here too, which will be fun.
Well, the Tesla marketing person has said they're going to have a stand here at Trade Day,
Yeah.
so it's going to be quite interesting. So well done to Rocky on that one there.
I'm trying to persuade them to make me a brand ambassador, to give me an electric car to use. So
Jim's an
I'm
influencer.
I'm quite well off, and I'm very, very stingy. So if somebody can give me something to use for no cost, I'll be very happy with that one.
And we'll get to a few questions online real quickly as well in a minute. Let's get to the next question here, which is from Greg. Where is Greg? It's a good question, Greg. We haven't had this one before.
Two Gregs.
Was there two Gregs? Also, there's one about inquiry. Inquiries.
I'm here first.
Yep. Right.
G'day, Jim.
Okay, Greg.
What's the longest period of time a franchisee has waited before joining, i.e. from inquiry to sign up?
Good question. We have never had that one before.
I don't know. Sometimes they take years to make up their mind, I can tell you. People can inquire after a decade after they first looked at it and still come on board, and then they typically say, I wish I'd done this 10 years earlier. But it can be quite a while. But
Yeah, I've waited 3 years.
Sorry?
About 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, when I first inquired.
Wow. Somebody here who was I was having dinner with, actually his father's had a test and tag franchise for, there you are, yeah, for 14 years, making incredible money, working 25 hours a week and making 140 grand a year. It's taken him, how did it take you so long to make the move? I was asking him at dinner time.
I know.
Yeah.
I think we've had a couple.
Initial outlay of the money, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for that question. We've never had that one before. I think we've seen 10 years before, 12 years before. They're always just sitting around the idea and then they come down to training. So
Well, as long as you make the right move and decision in the end, that's what counts.
absolutely. We've got a few people tuning online, which is fantastic. Real quickly, Jim, one's gone, Darren Tilley, what is the biggest divisions of all the Jim's franchises?
Franchising. Actually, as of today's figure, 1,999 for mowing. We just one off 2,000. Rocky was kicking himself this morning.
Absolutely. We've got
So close.
we've got a few social posts ready for that one as well.
Yes.
We've got another question here from the audience from, is it Flavia? Flavia? In the front row, yep. Part of the cleaning group.
Hi, hello, James. Can you buy more town on territory, or can buy a new franchise in different division?
A new franchise in the where?
In a different division.
Different division.
Okay, look, in some situations you can buy more territory, but very, very rarely does it happen, usually because there's so much work that you don't need to. Most franchisees have all the work they can handle. One of the struggles we have, and I'll talk about this on Wednesday, is to try and persuade people just to even take their territory. A lot of them don't do that after a time. So it's possible. I can't say it's never happened, but it's very, very unlikely because it won't improve your income. And as far as buying a franchise in another division, unless you're employing multiple people, there'll be no sense because you'll have all the work that you can possibly handle in your own division if you want to put on workers you can. So it's incredibly rare for the same reason. You're much better off putting a second vehicle in your cleaning division because then your base fees are the same. So that's the answer to that one. It's just the peculiarity of our system, especially in recent years where we've got so much work that there's no need.
Okay, thank you.
Good
Are
question.
you Brazilian? Yep, Brazilian. Yep, cool. Recognise the name. Cool. Got one here from Peter. Where's Peter? Regarding fencing. I think you'll like this. You'll like this one, Jim.
They never give me. He never gives me advance
No, I
warning
don't.
or anything.
I don't.
Jim, I'd like to thank Rachel for this question, but why will I succeed as a fencing franchisee?
What's that? Sorry.
Why will I succeed as a fencing franchisee?
Well, one reason is because you've made an incredibly smart decision to join Jim's Fencing, which is gets the odds very much in your favour.
Yeah.
But as it comes down to your personal qualities. Most people who buy franchises in gyms do quite well. As I said this morning, about 90% will end up with good or satisfactory income, and some will end up as multi-millionaires. But it's a fairly basic thing. You've simply got to do the right thing by the customer and organise yourself and look at what you're doing and say, how can I do it better? If something goes wrong, you look internally and you don't look and try and blame somebody else.
Yeah.
The great majority will succeed. We know that.
Work hard.
But it comes down to character. There's very little to do with experience or the amount of money you put in, or even your overall strength or anything like that, or mental power, or anything that really has much of an influence on whether you succeed. The overwhelming thing is character. And you look at the people who are best, they are not incredible geniuses. They're just decent people who want to do the right thing and are self-critical enough to say, how can I improve all the time? And people come a long way but just by doing that, and by learning from others too, by being surrounded by positive people who can help you to do better.
Yeah.
Come to meetings.
Oh,
Talk to your franchisor regularly.
It's been drummed into it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. You will be successful if you do that.
All right. Thanks
Thanks for that one,
Jim.
Peter. Let's get to a couple which came via during the week as well. So this one was from George Stavrakakis, which basically he said to you, Jim, I'm curious to know what's Jim's definition of leadership?
It's a strange question, isn't it?
Yeah, it came via online and we'll hold it over.
Well, leadership is acting in the way that people want to follow you. I mean, leadership is a very big thing at gyms. We've got 4,000 plus franchisees, but I think we've got something like 300 franchisors. So there's a lot of people who take a leadership role. And a good franchisor is somebody who cares enough about the people that they're leading to be a bit tough with them, to say, okay, you need to do better. So, for example, if a complaint comes in and the franchisee says, well, it's not my fault, it's so-and-so and so-and-so, I tried to ring the customer back to use the obvious example. A good leader will say, yes, but did you text? Did you do the things you're supposed to do? Because if you had done that, they wouldn't have ignored you, and then you can do better. So the kind of person is prepared to take a tough line and just say you need to change what you're prepared to do. Who cares enough about it? It's like a parent, If you're a good parent, you don't just say to your kid, do whatever you want, do whatever you feel like. You're going to say, no, come on, this isn't good behaviour. This is not going to help you to be a better person and have a better life. To me, that's leadership. Caring enough to be able to take a firm line and to be someone that people can imitate and want to follow.
That's a really good question there, George. And that's
As to whether I'm a leader in that sense, I don't know. Not everybody likes me, that's for sure. I try.
But what's your management philosophy for everyone internally? You call it when you go wandering around.
Yeah, I just wander around. I spend a lot of time wandering around the office, actually. One of Megan was she said she told people she worked at gyms and she worked with Jim, and she couldn't believe the fact that I actually wander into the office most days and just say, how's it going? I just come and have a chat with people and just ask them. I find a lot of useful thing about that. I find it's very good to talk to the front line. This is why I like to talk to franchisees. I like franchisees to contact me. I like individual staff to know they can approach me, because I often hear things that are going on.
We had you take some customer calls as well in the call centre, didn't we, last week? So
yeah, I told them about that. Well, that was an embarrassing experience, but I did manage to book a couple of jobs. But
you did too, yeah.
I tell you what, those girls do a fantastic job. They really do. They are heroes. They really are. They're so well trained, so professional, so dedicated. In fact, what we tend to do, which is horrible for the call centre, is we actually take the best ones from the call centre and we give them jobs in gyms, and they do so well.
Absolutely. We've got a few comments here coming as well. Bonnie Lee Dean has gone, Jim, you were very wise, and that was a fantastic answer for a few questions before. The Eric Jurgen says, hey guys, it's been a while since I've seen you. Can we get as franchisees notification on our pages of when training is on and when Jim's live is going to be on? Well, there's an event card on the page. If you subscribe to that, you get notified 15 minutes before the event there, Eric, and it can also go straight into your page as well if you want to as well. So we've got a few more questions here as well from the previous on the website, which I'm going to hold this one. Actually, this is a good one to do now. So Billy O'Connor came through and says, "Hi Jim, I just want to ask Jim what his thoughts on superannuation are, and what is his advice for small business owners, franchisees that to contribute to their super fund and retirement? Also, do you suggest a franchisee has some sort of income protection? Thanks very much. Regards, Billy O'Connor." Very business-like question.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of super. We have a self-managed super fund where we just own a flat in the city because they take ridiculous amounts of money. These people make billions in their management fees of superannuation. So I think if you can do self-managed super, it's better. I'm a great believer in property. If you can get into the property market, because property always seems to go up, and you get tenants to pay things off. I had a friend at school who never in his whole life made more than the average income, and he's now an independently wealthy multi-millionaire investor just by buying property. So I'd suggest, get property, get your house paid off, borrow against it, buy someone else, and then get that paid off as quick as possible, and then you just escalate your goods. As far as income as protection is concerned, it sort of depends on your financial situation. If you are living from hand to mouth and you need a salary, you should definitely have illness and accident policy, which means that if you're sick or if you break your leg, you're covered. If you can afford not to, if you've got reasonable reserves behind you, I'd say you're far better off using that same money to invest in something like property.
What about Bitcoin, Jim? What about digital currencies?
No way.
All the rage?
Yeah.
No way?
Because Bitcoin isn't worth anything. Property has real value. But Bitcoin is a pure speculation. You might as well go and put your money on a casino. It's a similar sort of thing. And I don't believe in gambling. In a sense, business is gambling, but you gamble when the odds are with you. When you're buying a franchise, it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? You don't know it's going to be successful, but you know the odds are very strong that it will be successful.
A few comments here coming online, which is great. Just go real quickly. So Matt Watts has gone here. What makes a great franchisor? From Matt Watts. I don't know, does he want to know? So if anyone doesn't know Matt used to work in our office and now he's a Western Vic franchisor, so I'm a bit concerned he's asking that. He's a franchisor in Western Vic.
What makes a great franchisor? Well, in our terms, somebody who really seriously cares about their franchisees. I mean, that's number one with us. We don't, that's the only, as I said this morning, that's the one thing we're going to give awards to franchisors. It's always on the basis of what their franchisees say about them in confidential surveys. So somebody who's really treated, somebody who rings their franchisees often, who's very available, who's very helpful, who provides leadership in a sense we were talking before, somebody who will actually pull a franchisee up and encourage them and show them how to do things better, somebody who cares enough. And we've got some absolutely brilliant franchisors. I have to say, quite a few of the franchisors in Jim's group are a lot better at doing that job than I ever was. Because I'm not a particularly social sort of person, so some of them are just phenomenally good at what they do.
He's running up a few Ks on the clock, Matt, because he's got a massive region in Western Vic and he lives in Melbourne, so he's been driving flat out left, right and centre.
He's doing very well though. He only took it over about, 3 months ago?
3 months ago, yep.
And he's already getting some growth and stuff. It's good. It's going well.
I want him to get on the tools though. He doesn't know how to use any of the tools. So he needs to get in the field and have a crack, I reckon.
It's not an uncommon thing. People who come to work in gyms often end up buying regional franchises because they see the value of the whole thing, of the system. They actually see what a great business it is.
I've got a couple of comments online that come. I'm going to get to these ones real quickly, but I just want to read them out because it shows transparency in what we do. So Bilal Ahmed's gone, as a Gyms Plus member, I'm very happy with your service. Maybe one day when I can afford it, I will buy a franchise. I'm a big fan of Jim. So maybe you want to talk about that.
Okay. Well, Gyms Plus is the system where we sell off surplus leads. They pay more than our own franchisees do, but when we can't handle a job, then we sell them off. One of the things we have planned is actually down the track, but we want to be able to buy leads back. So in other words, what we want to be able to do, ideally, is to sell the leads we can't handle and then take back leads for our people who need work, where they need it. So we can do it as sort of exchange, in which you make it a bit of a margin on it too. So that's the idea.
Hopefully Bilal becomes a franchisee when he can afford it with all the work coming through.
Tell you what, if you've got a good rating, Bilal, is his name?
Bilal, yeah.
Yeah, if you've got a good rating, Bilal, we'll make it really, really, really easy for you. There was somebody this morning who had like a 4.9 star rating. You know, we had somebody recently come across into gyms and they wanted to take their ratings with them. We said, sure, we'll arrange it, because they were so good. If somebody's a great operator like that, we will do everything possible to get them on board. And it's rare that we can't offer some sort of a deal which makes it worth their while.
A couple of funny questions here real quickly. He's gone, Matt Watts has gone, making sure my values line up with Jim. Come on, Matt, you should know from... I don't know, he doesn't listen, obviously. And we've got Ben Filler who's gone, what are your lucky numbers at the casino then, Jim? Or are you more of a blackjack type? So he obviously wasn't listening before.
Well, actually, blackjack's different because you can actually count cards in blackjack. There's a system for doing it. It was in New Scientist, actually. I saw it the other week. You give a certain positive value to small cards and a negative value to big cards that's already played. And you actually keep that in your mind. So it showed how to actually win at blackjack in a casino. That if they catch you counting cards, if they work out that you're doing it, they'll throw you out.
Do you reckon you could do it?
Probably.
Yeah?
I could do arithmetic. I think when you...
Feel like a Rain Man situation.
Well, not Rain Man.
No, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying we could do that as a bit of a work.
My wife says I'm quasi-autistic, actually, because I've got such poor social skills, but she says I'm borderline, mild Asperger is what they call it. But no, anybody can do mental arithmetic. You just got to add, every time a card is played, like if it's a 2, you know you've got a +1. If it's a 10, it's -1. And then you add them up, and only when you've got a certain score do you actually then go ahead and call for another card. So you can do it. But anything else is just total gambling.
I think they'll probably have a picture on the wall now at Crown Casino, they banned you, I reckon. I reckon you could do it as well. I'm being serious. I think you could do it and have no problem with it. And we've got one here from Arthur. So where's Arthur in the audience here? Arthur. This is a good question, Arthur. Be interesting to hear Jim's answer on this one. And I will get to those questions online from people. I'm just trying to fit everything in.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Arthur. Good name.
Thank you.
Named after a king, but he was not really a king, and he was probably semi-mythical. But anyway, go ahead.
I think everyone here and myself would like to know, where did you guys come up with the new franchise, Poo Patrol? And have you branded the poo emoji that's on there?
Well, the second, no, we haven't actually, but it's part of our logo. So if anybody uses it without the Jim's thing, they're in trouble. But, well, actually, it was because of what Ben, that was Sharon Connell's, that's a dog wash divisional. Her husband was doing it as a trial, and it turned out to be quite good. They were talking about making it pet services. I said, that's so wimpy. And let's just talk about a pile of steaming dung. That way you drive down the road. This is our first Poo Patrol franchisee who's been here. When you're driving down the road, people are going to look at this and say, wow, what is this? What's Jim's into now? And we hope it'll go all over the place. So it's very vivid, despite the fact that you're going to do a lot more than just pick up poo, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
It's a really nifty system, actually. It's fantastic what they did. You can do it, you don't touch anything, it goes into a plastic bag, and they spray it with enzymes and stuff. But you can also do things like walking the dogs and
pet sitting and all that.
Pet sitting and all kinds of things, and delivery of food, and there's all kinds of things going in. So it looks like a great division. But yeah, I was the one that said, I said, no way pet services, I want Poo Patrol, and I want the steaming dung. I personally insisted on that.
Genius.
Thanks for that one there, Arthur, as well. Okay, we've got one here from Paul. Where is Paul? Paul? Paul at the back there. Cool.
No, there's 2 Pauls.
Oh, is there 2 Pauls? Hang on, give me one sec. 2 Pauls? Oh, no. Okay.
Doesn't matter, I'm sure you got a great question. Go for it. The other Paul can...
Hi, Jim. I just want to ask you, how do you work out what the next division will look like? How do you figure out what your next division will be? How do you figure out?
Well, very rarely do I come up with new divisions myself. In fact, I can't think of anything particularly for a long, long time. What happens is that somebody comes to me with a business, and I am very easy to contact. My email address is all over the web. Anybody can contact me. They do it, it comes to me. So I'm easy to contact, and they just say, I've got a business. Actually happened today. Somebody actually emailed me and said, would you be interested in an idea for a new division? And I wrote back to them and said, without knowing what it was, and I said, well, yes, if you've successfully run a business in that industry, we'd look at it. So I wrote back to him, and he wrote back to say he wasn't doing it now. And I said, that's okay. If you've done it in the past, that's fine. So tell me what it is. That's where our conversation has gone. So probably tomorrow he'll write back and tell me what it is, and then I'll look at it. But if it's a division that we've already got covered in some way, we can't do it, obviously, because it breaches territory rights. But that's how it happens. Now, somebody came to me with years ago with test and tag, and I had no idea there was such an industry. I thought Sparkies did it. But testing and tagging is going around and testing, cords, electrical cords and so forth. And this guy had a business doing it. He said it only takes a few weeks training. It's not difficult. And I said, but how much work is this? He said, well, I live in Albury-Wodonga, and I'm flat out in Albury-Wodonga. So I did a bit of pencil and paper, and I said, hey, we could have 100 franchisees in this division. This is a potentially good business. We've now got 5 people working in Albury-Wodonga full time. So we could probably have 500, 1,000 franchisees, who knows? So
Awesome. Yeah.
that's more or less how it happens. People just come to me with the business. What we look for more than anything, it's not so much the idea for the business, it's the person to run it. When you've got a great leader, anything can work well. We'll talk about that at dinner time. You get divisions that go nowhere until you get the right leader and they shoot up like that.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Good question. Where's the other Paul? Other Paul, real quickly. And there's questions online. So just real quickly from one online, Jim, just from Katie's gone, is there going to be Jim's Mobile Cafe going at the trade day? Is there going to be Mobile Cafe at the trade day? Yep.
They'll be there.
Absolutely.
We just signed that second one, I think.
We did out in the West again, yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
G'day, Jim. My question's pretty simple. Who do you follow in the AFL? If anyone.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I couldn't pretend to. I like books. I like books. I read probably 2 or 3 books a week and use magazines and stuff, but I have very highbrow interests. Sorry, I'm not a common. I don't have those tastes. It'd probably be better if I did. My kids used to always go on a bit about which football team you barrack for, Dad, and I said, no, I'm not even going to say. I used to say Buganda, which is an ancient African kingdom, so I wouldn't tell you.
There's a few photos, but there's that photo with you at Punt Road back in the day with those trailers, and they obviously photoshopped it around at the old Richmond. Everyone used to sponsor it. Yeah,
because we used to sponsor, mowing division used to sponsor Richmond, which wasn't my decision, it was done by the franchisors, but everybody was convinced I was a Richmond fanatic. I'd never actually been to an AFL game in my life, but they always assumed that we sponsored because of my personal tastes. It was just...
If you do come to train, don't make small talk about footy. You won't get very far.
Well, it'll be very small, like that. Won't know what to say.
We got a few more questions online real quick. So a guy called Anthony McFarlane's gone, Jim, do you remember me? He used to be your bank manager, you reckons? Anthony John McFarlane. He's been messaging the page.
Tony, yes,
yeah,
of course.
Tony,
Yeah, he was great. Yes.
All right, he remembers you then, Tony.
I do,
Yeah.
yes.
Was he a good bank manager? Or?
Best bank manager we ever had. He was terrific. He actually got us into... So he showed us a few things that we could do and worked it out with the bank. He was the best. We've never had anybody as good as you, Tony. I'm sure you don't want to go back to the bank, but anyway, it was good. Current guy's not bad too, actually. He just got us a big discount on some of our loans, so we're appreciative of that.
That's a good rap for you. So the next one, who you got from? Is it?
Yeah, I gave Tony. I gave you a rave reference to the superior, the powers that be, just before he left.
Was it CBA?
CBA.
CBA.
Yeah.
So another question here from the audience is from. Is it Sukhpreet? Sukhpreet? I like this question. From the Jim's Cleaning Group.
Hi, Jim. As you know, that we're going through a very critical time because of the coronavirus, and I'm sure a lot of us gonna get asked this question when we go out for a job. And my question to you is, have you been vaccinated yet?
No, I've actually applied, and they told me they'd let me know when it was available. But since I'm 68, nearly 69, I should get reasonably high priority. I'm actually in very good health, so I'm not particularly at risk, but I will get vaccinated as soon as I possibly can. I think that's very important too. I mean, I've fought with the state government about the lockdown, which was stupid, the way they stopped sole operators working by themselves, who have zero risk to public health. But in general, I'm very much supportive of the government efforts to control infection. And I'm a big believer in vaccination. I think everybody should be vaccinated as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to ask about this, you know. There's some people are going to be very fussy.
I will make a big thing of it. In fact, if possible, when I get a vaccination, I'll try and get a camera crew.
Yeah, and I'll have all the anti-vaxxers inboxing me with all these things, and it's a conspiracy. And
well, sometimes they don't like, the anti-vaxxers don't like me. I've been very vocal about that. I'm a huge believer in, I believe in science, and I believe this development of vaccines over the past year has been an incredible achievement. It's beyond anything. There's a wonderful book called The Codebreaker. It's about Jennifer Doudna, who won a Nobel Prize last year for her role in developing CRISPR. That's the gene editing tool. And the stuff that they've done has been completely unprecedented. So they had, within weeks of working out the structure of this virus, they'd actually worked it out and started working on vaccines. And they had in principle, vaccines so quickly. It's been an extraordinary achievement to achieve so many breakthroughs so fast in development of vaccines, and I think people should use them. They should take advantage. There's lots of problems with it. It's not just the fact that you can get ill and die. A lot of people have what's called long COVID. They have ongoing problems of dizziness and brain fogginess and lethargy and stuff. It's a very nasty, dangerous disease, and anybody who doesn't get vaccinated as soon as they possibly can needs their head read seriously. And as far as I'm concerned, all my influence we put towards getting every one of my people, my gyms people, vaccinated as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah, we did a Herald Sun story. I remember a while back. It was Jim's Jabs or something. We done a logo for them with it because they asked you for comment on the whole situation.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks for that question. It's a good one. I've got one here online, which I want to read out because we do this in a transparent live format. It's not always the best question, so I'll read this one out from a customer, not a happy customer, from Luke. He's gone, I received crap service from a gym's cleaning service. He was so lazy he didn't vacuum under the sofa. I tried to call him and he was so rude. Now, when customers come on and complain, what's the process from complaints? Maybe you want to tell people about that.
Well, if you didn't get good service, email jim@gyms.net. You can have that. And that automatically comes to me, even if it doesn't normally goes through the franchisor. We'll come and do it again. We'll fix the job. We'll do whatever we need to fix it up. The franchisee has the first right to fix it up. After that, we'll get somebody else to do it. Yeah. We just had a case today, in fact, it's just been settled where somebody did a bad job. It was more than just a clean, and we're just going to pay them $2,500.
Yeah.
To fix up all the issues to do with that. Just been negotiated, yes.
And we do read those ones. That normally you don't hide them, so that's the process. Yeah.
We occasionally do give crap service. There's no doubt about it. Not every gym's person gives great service. All I can say to anybody is that we do a lot less of crap service than most of our competitors. And if it comes to our attention, we will always fix any problem, no matter what it is. There's no problem that's too big. We fixed a fence that would cost $120,000 a few years back. It doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter how far back it went, we will always honour any warranties, we'll always fix any poor job. We just have to be given the opportunity to do it.
The Ned Barcy's gone here online. First thought of being a gym's franchisee after seeing Jim on TikTok. So Jim on TikTok, he saw you. He says, at the training in Melbourne this week to start my own fencing franchise. That's really cool feedback from Ned. Seeing you on there. Let us know which video that inspired you there. And I've got one real quick question from a franchisee online. It says, hi Jim, I have a question about it. I have a gym's franchise and want to expand, but I'm afraid to do it. The employees will not be that good and they won't do any good work. So how would you face that situation, or how would you get around it?
Okay, the first thing is, if you're going to employ somebody, you're not going to do it right the first time. You're going to have to try a few different people. There are a lot of not very good people out there looking for jobs, but there are good ones if you're persistent. So you just keep on trying people until you find somebody good, and then you train them, you support them, you look after them, you buy them lunch, you give them a bonus, you're nice to them. You do what you need to support good people. It can be done. There are people who develop very substantial business within gyms, but it takes time. And the other thing I'd say too is get advice from people who have done it already. You will find mentors in gyms, and I'll guarantee you this, if you find somebody who's doing this already, ideally in your own region, if you can, because that's closest, I guarantee they'll give you all the advice and help they possibly can. Your chance of building a major business within gyms is many times greater than it would be as an independent. Partly because there's lots of work around, but also because you've got so many people who've done it before and will show you what to do, and if they don't do this, this was a mistake, do this, find people that way. They'll give you all the information.
Absolutely. Let us know what division you are there and submit as well. But there's also a franchisee Facebook group which has got around 600 franchisees in it. You can always put questions in there, and the franchisees in the group are really responsive and they'll answer you straight away. So make sure you join the Gyms Group franchisee only Facebook group as well. So we've got another question here from the audience, which is from Happy Gilmore. Who's Happy Gilmore here? Someone called Happy Gilmore. Got a Queensland Reds top on. Maroons, sorry, the Maroons, not the Reds, that's the rugby union, sorry.
Evening, Jim. Joel, how you going?
Good, thanks.
Jim, just wanted to check what your opinion is on the battery-operated tools, and when you think they'll become a full-time viable option for mowing.
They already are. Quite a few people are battery-powered only. In fact, if you come to the... Are you in Melbourne?
No.
No, you're not.
No.
Okay.
Brisbane.
But if you come down to the trade show, there'll be lots of really good stuff, including a lot of prizes to give away. So I hope you would think of coming. We're going to have just about every supplier's got battery tools these days. They're really good. I've used them myself and I love them. They're so quiet. They're so easy to use. Cost a bit more to get into. I'd recommend that you get into that now. I honestly think now's the time.
And second leg to that question, what brand do you see floating to the top?
Well, at the moment, Pelling looks good, and the reason for that is because their mower lasts all day, basically. So it's got a really, really good battery. They're quite expensive. I think they're about $2,500 for a mower. But when you allow for the fact that you don't have to buy fuel and for the fact of lower maintenance and stuff, we think it's the best deal around. I would recommend any. If I was a mowing contractor now, I'd be using battery-powered tools, no question at all.
Customers love it, and at the trade there, they're going to bring there's going to be a battery first ride-on, like a commercial grade ride-on, which is powered fully on battery. And I think it's going to be solar as well. Plank will be there. There's a lot of all battery-powered supplies there. So
There's OH&S considerations too. One of the things about an internal combustion motor is very noisy. Now we can use earmuffs like that, but they're quiet. They don't have any bad smell. You're going to have less downtime because they don't break down as well. Also, another thing that's quite it never affected me, but it does affect some people. You can get a vibration problem from the mower. You don't get those with battery-powered tools. So we've got people who would have to give up if they couldn't use battery-powered. I think over the next year or two, you'll find most franchisees going towards battery-powered, at least in the mowing division. Yeah.
Have you gone to the top in the lecture theatre? There's a whole Palenque stand there. That's the stuff, and that's the stuff in the feedback that's lasts the whole day and is commercial grade and can take a bit of a thrashing. The problem before was there was a couple of other brands where they couldn't last the whole day and be 3 batteries and changing. Those things can last one day on the battery.
And they have got substantial amount of power. If you have a look at the video that was done of me doing blackberries, which is just across my neighbour across over there, it's really powerful stuff. They're quite heavy, but my goodness, they've got a lot of gumps behind them. These things. That was a Penman's tool that I did that with. Yeah, they're great. You're in mowing?
Yes.
Yeah, I would seriously think about getting battery-powered equipment. It will cost a bit more, but very little by comparison with the cost of the trailer and the equipment in general. But it's got so many advantages.
Less noise complaints as well.
Yes, you can start early in the morning. You won't get complaints from clients, which is a big problem normally.
And we've had franchisees give feedback where people approach them and say, "Is that all?" They're intrigued by the gear. Because what is that? What are you using? They'll get work out of it. So yeah, absolutely.
It's also good to have a green image too. I mean, if there wasn't every other reason, the fact that you're actually somebody who's working on the environment, especially if you can power them by solar power or something like that, that's a fantastic way. I would love gyms to go carbon neutral, and I think we can to a very large extent. Down the track a bit.
Awesome.
Look into it. It's good stuff. The Palenque stuff is the one we're
That's
pushing.
the one.
Yep.
That's the brand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Cool. We've got a few more online here. So Jim's Mowing Bay of Plenty Hawk says apparently he's 100% battery there over in NZ. So we've already got franchisees and franchisors doing it, which is fantastic. He's going real quickly. Are you streaming the trade day? We're going to be flat out filming Jim at the suppliers and stuff, but I'll be running around with my phone live streaming. So I'll be live streaming on the phone. The boys will be flat out with Jim going around doing all the rounds with all the suppliers and keeping them happy as well. And we have one here from Eric as well. Says, Jim, I'm still waiting for my signed Monopoly game stating that I was the best mobile cafe barista in gyms. That was from a while back.
Been the only one, of course, yeah.
So
funny guy, Eric, yes. he makes good hot chocolate, though. I don't drink coffee, but his hot chocolate is very good.
So, yeah, we'll try and... Do you want to get that sorted for him, or... Did we give it to him?
No.
No? All right. Well,
He's the only one.
All right, there we go. No.
If it was the best out of 100, I would say that would be worth giving an award for.
Unlucky, Eric. Unlucky.
Sorry, Eric. Right. No way. Buy it yourself. Don't be such a sponge. You're making so much money on your mobile cafe van, you can afford to.
It's not a bad point, actually.
He is doing very well, actually. It's quite striking. He's pioneered it, and makes very, very good money. Surprisingly good money.
Absolutely. We've got a few questions here as well from Stuart Rainbow's gone 100%. If I was starting a new franchise, it'd be going battery-operated gear. We've had a lot of existing franchisees and new franchisees move to battery gear. So
Stuart's a franchisor
for mowing.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we've got another one here as well from Ruben Buchanan's gone, what is this trade show that you're talking about, and can non-franchisees come along? I've got a mowing business and from Mackay, not a franchisee, but I've followed Jim since I heard his
by all means, come down. We'd love to have you.
From Queensland, public, yeah.
Well, I'm nothing against Queenslanders. I mean, some of my best friends are Queenslanders.
Yeah, I'm not saying we do, but I'm just we'll have to do the practical side of it. We'll have to get a form up for
all you have to say is that you have an interest in just come.
Yeah, there'll be a public form. So what we'll do, Ruben, is we'll make a public form, and you basically just complete that. Let us know your details for the basic things, and then you can come down. So
from the point of view of the suppliers, which is what this is about, we want to make them really happy. Like last year, we had about 400 people. 2 years ago, we couldn't run it last year. This year, we'd like to have 1,000. Because the more we offer in terms of goodies and giveaways and jumping castles and all kinds of stuff, the more people want to come. The more people come, the better it is for the suppliers.
I'm thinking of like a royal show for gyms. That's how it's going to be, and Rocky's they're putting a lot of
It's going to be a really, really big venture. We're also getting a giant blow-up Jimbo.
We are, yep.
Which is going to be, how tall is it going to be?
4 metres.
4 metres tall Jimbo. You can have your picture taken with that. It's going to be a really, really fun day.
Yeah, well, the plan is to have it every training week. So we're going to have it on the grass, and if you want to come and take a photos for some laugh and share it on social media, happy to do that. So we're looking forward to getting that one going. And Shiley Copley's got another question about the trade day real quickly. Will you have cleaning displays at the open day? Is cleaning displays, I don't know.
I don't think cleaning is part. I think handyman is, mowing. Fencing.
Yeah. There'll probably be some stuff there for anyone just in general to come down if you're interested in especially with the suppliers.
We wouldn't be against anybody turning up. You have to be a mowing franchisee. One of the biggest things is the giveaway. We give away tens of thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Like last year, was a ride-on mower and massive stuff. And that's only available to franchisees in the division. But everything else is just free for anybody who wants to come.
Absolutely. We've got one here from Bill. Now, where's Bill? Bill in the audience regarding a book. Is Bill here? Yep. Come on up, Bill. Which division are you from, Bill? Handyman?
I am. Sydney.
Sydney, cool.
How are you all? Just quick question on the book. Was the book based on real life?
This book?
Yes,
That's
the
me.
little one.
This
the
me.
new one.
Oh, the new one. Or the green one or that one?
The one in your hand.
That one.
Oh yeah, this is just my story. Well, I mean, there's nothing much made up about it, I don't think. It's really a warts and all picture. You will not, if you think that I'm some sort of overall business genius who never makes mistakes, this book will sadly disillusion you. I've made a lot of them. But it just talks about how I started and how I got going. People are interested. How do you start off flat, broke, deeply in debt, pushing a lawnmower around in desperation for something better to do and end up with a quite successful business?
You've also said you are the most unlikely person to be a successful business person.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I have very poor social skills. I am socially blind. I am, as I said, my wife says, that's how she copes with me. She says, you've got mild Asperger's. I just don't read social clues very well. I couldn't sell. I was hopeless at selling. I find it very difficult to tell any kind of lie. Have everybody seen Big Bang Theory? You know the character Sheldon Cooper? Yeah. Well, Lee says I remind him of her, so that gives you some idea of what I'm like. And other things too. I'm in a lot of ways I'm very lazy. I just don't get into things very well, and there are so many reasons why I should fail. I often find it very surprising, to be quite frank, Bill, as to why I've been as successful as I am.
Well, we're lucky to have you. And also you said the best fans are your franchisees.
Well, I hope so. Not all of them like me when I refuse to delete their complaints or bad surveys, but they don't give me evidence. They don't think I'm the best person around. I can assure you of that. I am very tough on things like that.
Fair enough.
But at the same time, if they get into trouble, I will do everything possible to help them out and to help them to do better.
Would there be any bigger book than the last book in the pipeline coming?
No, this book over here, though, this is an interesting one. This was written by a lady called Catherine Mullenshot, who interviewed me, and that's quite different. It's got a lot of much more personal stuff in it, if anybody's interested in that.
Okay, we'll have a look at this one too.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all
not,
from
you
me.
might win a prize.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank
that
you.
question. Thank you. Cool.
We do sell these, but just at cost, if anybody wants to buy one.
So we've got a few questions and comments coming along, which is fantastic. Hadar's coming to the trade day, which is great. And we've got Mark William
So is cleaning going to be there?
I don't know what the go is, so I don't want to speak on his behalf. So obviously franchisees will come, so I don't know yet. I don't know what's going on, but I won't speak on his behalf. Then Mark William Hansen's gone, nothing beats the smell of a freshly cut grass and a two-stroke gym. So he likes the smell of the petrol. I don't know how his brain likes it, but that's all right. 10 years later in the year, and he's looking forward to the catch-up, so it's good he's coming. All right, we've got another question here from the audience is it Gil? Gil, yep, cool.
I have actually two questions regards to personal style, lifestyle, benefits for the franchise. How you manage the work tasks and the lifestyle, as you said, when we are prospect to buy a franchisee. And
sorry, I don't understand that. How do you manage that?
how you manage work tasks?
Me personally?
Yes, personal.
I don't draw much of a distinction, to be quite honest. My work and my is really mixed up. I tried not to work on Sunday, but it's hopeless. I just can't do it. So I love what I do too much. It's like fun. Like I had to go into hospital to do a small operation a while back, and it took me a few hours waiting there. But fortunately, I had my phone and I could do emails and stuff. Otherwise, it would have been a really bad morning. The hardest thing I find is holidays. Christmas to New Year is a really tough time for me because there's nothing going on. There's no work, so I get very antsy and bored, and I just like it so much. So, but at the same time, I go have lunch with my wife during the week quite often.
Any sports?
I play squash, which is fun. I work on my farm quite a bit. I probably work about 10 hours a week outside on my farm, just digging potatoes and all kinds of things like that. Just I love being physically active outside, which is why I was a mowing contractor. But I think work-life balance is good. I enjoy what I do very, very much. But I have time, you see. I drive my kids to school. I see a lot of my children. I always have. It's been great. And that's one of the great things about being in business for yourself. You're not constrained by being away and I've always had that sort of benefit.
And what's your favorite work task that you do each day?
The most fun thing I find is coming into the office and talking with my staff about plans.
You came every day?
Yeah, just about every day, yeah.
So what's everyone on the farm on the Friday?
Yeah. Yeah, they get sick of me, I can assure you. It's not but you know, you go in there and I'll just go and talk to Joel and Rocky in the main office, and we'll discuss plans for the trade day, and you talk about how we can improve a certain division, or how we can fix up the training, or how we can improve staff to make this happen. On Tuesday morning, I go and talk to Liv, software development, and we're talking about the plans for what we can develop. I really enjoy that. I talk to Jim's Plus. I go in there pretty well every day except Friday, and just talk to them about what they're doing and how they're doing it. I just enjoy looking at ways to improve things. It's really, as I often say, business is like a giant, really fascinating computer game. It's very interesting. It's endlessly challenging. There's always more that you can do, and it's just exciting. We've got stuff going on with Jim's Jobs right now is just phenomenal. The plans we've had. Just last week, I sat down and had a look at a system for Jim's Jobs. This is our program that we use for franchisees to run their business, where you can actually have a little histogram of, this is what we planned on that, this is last Tuesday, where you can actually, if you're making less money than you should, you can actually tap into the space there, and it gives you all sorts of ideas about things you can do to improve your income. How to get extra jobs, for example, or even things like sending out text to past clients, for example, and saying, would you like me to come and do your job again? This kind of thing. It's all automated. This is just the plan that we're working on. It's going to be a really phenomenal tool to help franchisees and independent contractors to do a better job. That's amazingly exciting stuff, to think that we can do so much good.
Thank you.
Are you from Brazil?
Yes.
There's another Brazilian. Cool, it's great. It's a good country, I've been there. Cool. All right, I've got another question here from the audience from Ken.
Good question.
Yes, Ken, yep. I like this question. Good one.
Yeah, g'day, Jim. My wife is in the fitness industry, and we were wondering if you ever considered gyms.
It's the most comment we get in anything is gyms.
We have Jim's personal training as a division, or we have had. It just hasn't gone that well, actually. Yep. Again, I think it's something I love. I'm a huge believer in fitness. I actually exercise at least half an hour a day, more at the weekends. Obviously, I'm careful about diet to a certain extent, despite an extreme love of chocolate, I have to admit. But I'm a huge believer in health and fitness, yep. and personal training is something that I would dearly love to take off the ground. It's been a great disappointment it hasn't gone better.
Yep.
I think it just lacks the right leadership. As far as actual gyms is concerned, no. The reason for that is because even though it looks like gyms does everything, we're actually very good at doing businesses where somebody calls us to come out and yep. do something for them. We're not really good at doing site-based businesses.
Yep.
We tried that once with the chain of gyms, and it didn't work out well at all because we didn't understand the industry.
Yep.
But anything like car cleaning or dog wash or IT or any division, we're quite good at that sort of thing. Yep. So we stick to what we know.
Yeah, it just dawned on us because going forward we're going to be telling people that she's in gyms and I'm in gyms, you know. So it's just thought.
Well, within a few months we're going to have a fitness centre just up there. The swimming pool will be enclosed and heated. Yep. We'll have a racquetball court because that's what I really love racquetball myself. And we're going to have a gym where you can actually exercise.
So we'll have Jim's Gym.
We'll have Jim's Gym, but only one of them, and not franchise.
Thank you.
Thanks for that question. We've got another one here from Kartik. Is it Kartik?
We might even call it Jim's Gym, actually.
We are going to call it, absolutely.
We have to start saying Jim's Gym.
Don't worry, I've got it all planned. We're going to be doing that. Don't worry about that.
Hi, Jim. How do you stay energetic after all this 32 years of being in this business? Like, what's your secret or advice for us?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I love what I do. I really enjoy my life. It's a wonderful, wonderful life. If you gave me $1 billion, I would keep on doing the same thing tomorrow. It's not for money. It's not really driven by that. It's driven by a sense of fun, of excitement, of achievement, of the reward of seeing franchisees do well. I have to say, apart from discussing things about growth, the other thing I really love doing is hearing from a franchisee who's done well, whose life has been turned around. When I sit down in the evening and ring my 10, 15, 20-year veterans and talk to them about how different their life is, that's an enormously empowering sort of thing. So that's part of it. And the other part of it is simply to do with fitness and health.
Yeah.
If you're very physically fit, I know my wife had, whom I love dearly, and I'm very, very blessed in my marriage, but she's had subject to these moods. And I've been at her and at to exercise. I say it's the one thing. And about 3.5 weeks ago, she started doing it regularly. And since then, it's quite dramatic. Even she's stunned how much difference it makes. The downs just are not there the way they used to be. Her mood is so much better. So I certainly believe in physical fitness. One of the great things about doing so many of our jobs, like especially the outdoor ones like gardening and so forth, but any of them, cleaning as well, is that it actually does keep you physically active. And you know, it's interesting, people think that the most fun jobs are actually things like being an IT consultant and stuff. Sorry about that, but that's the idea. But in actual fact, if you look at the happiness, and I'm very interested in the science of happiness, the jobs that tend to get the highest level of happiness and satisfaction are gardening and florists. Both to do with natural plants, and in the sense of gardening to do with physical exercise, even though they're not necessarily the best paid, unless you're a Jim's franchisee, of course.
But you're remarkably consistent as well, Jim, aren't you? You're disciplined. You don't miss your exercise in the morning. You don't take a day off. You're remarkably consistent.
I run on the treadmill. I run 4.5, 5Ks every day, and I always do that and keep that up. And actually I walk a lot too. I just walk back and forth from the office several times a day, and I keep very, very fit. And even when I'm talking in the office, I don't tend to sit, do I?
No, you're always moving.
I'm just moving around. I just stay on my feet wherever possible. Okay. It's a very interesting thing actually, because I always thought of turning 69 as being very old, but I did not feel old at all.
I mean, when you came in and gave this 2-hour speech in the morning, I was really surprised. You didn't even twitch for 1 second. Your energy from start to the end, it was all the same. There was no up and downs. And when you heard there was this old franchisee sitting in there who had this 4.9 rating, and immediately the happiness that came in your face, it makes a lot of difference for us as well to learn.
Well, you don't often have somebody who's got a 4.9 rating actually had training. We had a Jim's Plus person who came to training, and he was a 4.9, which was really exciting.
But your diet as well plays a big part of it. Your diet, you're pretty strict with your diet and your weight, and you watch all that. It all plays part of it.
Yeah. I would probably have 3/4 of my average diet would be things with fruit and vegetables and like oatmeal or something like that. So I eat not entirely great stuff. I love cheese, for example. I was stuffing myself on cheese and biscuits tonight after dinner, but you've got to live well. You've got to exercise. You've got to keep fit. You've got to watch your diet. These things are great. But happiness is a science. It's not just random.
Yeah.
And there's things like, obviously fitness, exercise, health, diet, they're very important. Also social relationship. I happen to have a wonderful marriage. I love my kids too, and I have a strong involvement with my church and so forth. That's social relationships are very important as well. Having a sense of meaning in your life, doing something that has some purpose to it. I feel that I have a reason for getting up out of bed in the morning because potentially I can help a lot of people. And I know that we do that very, very well. Not as well as we should. And it pains me really bad when franchisees fail. But at the same time, and that's what they say too, you've got to have a sense of purpose in what you do with your life. And that's very strongly associated with happiness. And the other thing too is, and this I'm a very strong believer, it's good to be successful for all kinds of reasons, but I don't think it's good to spend a lot of money on yourself. And the thing that I mostly spend my money on is the research program, which we're looking for the root causes of mental illness. We're looking at epigenetics and all kinds of things to do with that. We've got a research program going on at La Trobe University, which I think is going to produce some really exciting results because we've got some novel ways of looking at things. And that again, is a sense of purpose, and that's very thrilling. That's very meaningful.
And Jim's done like a 30-minute video on this on our YouTube channel. So if you type in Jim on happiness, this will come up, and similar points if you want to remember it down the track as well.
I would love to do on time, Jim's life coaching talking to people about how they can live a better and happier life. It's not rocket science. It's actually some very simple principles. If you had a system that would be able to just motivate people and get them part of groups and encourage them to do the things that they need to do. Because the whole thing is people tend to do now what feels good right now. In other words, I want to lie in bed in the morning, or I want to just have that sugary snack. And that's easy to do. If you can get to the stage where you actually resist that to some extent and do the things you should do, that's what makes for happiness.
Thank you so much, Jim.
I love the question.
Good question. We've got Haydar here saying motivating fitness advice. Thanks, Jim. So Haydar does all the fitness as well. Okay, cool. We're going to get some more questions here. So we've got from Jay as well. Where's Jay? Jay there. And one real quick comment from Jason Pollock, who's a franchisor, saying you also have a great team around you, Jim, that needs some credit as well, Jim. Then he's basically gone, he's also said, will we do these live streams with TikTok and Instagram live? Problems phones, Jason. We need to have 3 phones all logged in the account, so I might give it a go next time as well. Cool.
Hey, Jim. I mean, my question's probably pretty much been answered by you with answering some of the other questions, but my question is, why? Why do you keep doing what you're doing? Why do you still keep saying so heavily involved in the business? If you look at all the major brands in Australia, I honestly can't think of a brand as popular as Jim's, where the founder is so still heavily involved in the actual business itself. What keeps you going? I'm not directly involved with the Jim's group, but I've got my own business, and my goal is to keep, and the thing that keeps driving me is to build my business to a point where I can just step away and let it run autonomously, and it finances my lifestyle, and I can just sit back and enjoy life. So at 69, why do you keep doing what you're doing?
It's more fun than anything I could possibly imagine. That's all I can say. I just love doing it. I'd love you to be in that same situation too. Do something that's so fascinating that you'd never want to retire. That should be your aim, no matter what it is. And that may mean when you're incredibly rich, maybe you put your time into some good work. Like what Bill Gates has done. If you ask me the person I admire most in the world, it'd be Bill Gates. Built a great business, but now, for many years, he's completely moved out of that, and he's doing incredibly well without him because he's got great successes, but he's fully devoted to the Gates Foundation. He's probably likely saved millions of lives. This is an amazing man, amazing example. I don't think he'll retire either. He's a great man. I think that's an example for all of us. Do something that's worthwhile. You should never retire. People have so much to contribute. If you don't need to make a living, that's great. Then you can do something worthwhile. You know, they've discovered things, and this is again about the science of happiness. What makes people happy? You know, the thing that you do with money that makes you the least happy is buying status goods, a more expensive car, better clothes, prestigious stuff. Okay? Experiences actually are better. Going on a holiday, going out with your friends or the family, that actually works better. But the one thing that works the best in terms of using money to buy happiness is giving it away. And giving it away to some worthy cause to which you are personally involved. And they found that creates the greater level of happiness. So the thing I'd say to you is, yeah, sure, it's great to make some money, but then look at something to do that's worthwhile with your life. And then you'll really want to keep on working. And let me tell you too, if you're going to keep on working longer, doing something that you love, you're also likely to live a lot longer and your mind will be better. And you look at someone like the Duke of Edinburgh too, who's just died just before his 100th birthday. And one of the things about that guy is, and there's various things to be said about the royal family. I'm not really a royalist, I'm a Republican, but anyway, the point of it is this. This is a guy who kept physically fit and active, even right into old age. He was very, very physically fit, but he was working right into his 90s. Even after his supposed retirement, he was still doing useful stuff. And he had a lot of causes. He was the chairman of like 500 different causes and stuff, the Duke of Edinburgh Award. That's a recipe for a good life. And that's for you as well. I mean,
cool.
We're not the Duke of Edinburgh, of course, but we can follow the same kind of example.
No, I appreciate it. If I can ask just one more little question based on something you actually just said before. You mentioned Asperger's. Do you view Asperger's as a gift or a hindrance?
Well, my wife doesn't think it's a gift.
My wife would agree.
You've got a similar sort of thing, do you?
Supposedly, yeah.
Look, it causes a lot of embarrassment. She's always telling me off for blurting out things which offend people. It's just a habit. I try and think about what I say, and I think about, if I say this is going to upset somebody, usually I'm okay. But I can get very impatient and stuff, and I'm just not aware of it. But I do think there's probably an element in that borderline autistic temperament that causes you to be focused. You can be very, very creative.
Obsessed.
because you're not sort of so bound up in social life. So I'm just really, really focused. I'm very single-minded. I want something to be done, and I'll push it and push it and push it, like customer service or service to franchisees. You keep on driving at that, and you almost ignore the negatives. I just don't even see them.
Yeah.
And I think that's potentially a benefit for yourself too.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate that. Thanks for that.
Great question. Thanks for that one there. So we've got one here from Greg. Where is Greg? The front. We're going to wait for these last couple, Jim.
Yeah.
We're just on time there. Been a lot of great questions tonight.
Hi, gents. Who makes the decision to close a division, and what happens to the franchisees that's left?
We'd never close a division where there were franchisees still on board. So a division effectively closes when the last franchisee leaves. If there's no franchisor around, the national office would take responsibility. What actually tends to happen is that when the division is going badly, we find other divisions for them to transfer to. So if batteries, as an example, we signed about 4 franchisees, and we actually arranged for them all to be given franchises. Same thing happened with interior design. We had the same thing, 4 franchisees, didn't work out very well. We gave them all cleaning franchises. One of them actually became a very successful franchisor too, cleaning, that's Nicole. So yeah, we never abandon a franchisee. But you can always find somewhere to move towards. They never have to buy another franchise. They might just to get some equipment or whatever.
Okay.
Thanks for that question.
Thanks.
And we've got one here from Bala. Where's Bala? Cool. And a couple on the online. I will try and get some real quickly as well before we finish up.
Good day, Jim. I have listened to your audiobook, Every Customer is a Raving Fan. Thanks for putting this together. It's a great book. Congratulations on the whole wonderful journey. My question is, as evidenced in your book, business is all about like ups and downs. Can you share with us your, how do you deal with down times? And also like, how did you navigate those situations? And the associated question is like, how did you keep yourself motivated?
Downtimes. The worst downtime of my life was not actually to do with the business at all. It's when I lost my children many years ago. My ex-wife cut me off as a way of trying to get more money out of me, and I lost contact with them for 2 years. That was an absolutely horrifying experience. I don't know how. Again, the business actually was my lifeline because it gave me a sense of purpose and meaning. No matter how bad I felt an obligation to my franchisees and to my staff to keep going. There's a story in the beginning too of the book talking about a time when I was just starting up lawn mowing and I had a very, very bad experience and I was very down. My Christian walk does help me a lot in that sense. I think God is there in the hardest times. But on the whole, my life's been pretty good. I mean, I'm extraordinarily blessed in so many ways, particularly with my family, with my wife and my kids.
Thanks for listening to the audiobook as well, because the audiobook is a free download on the website. So that's great. You listen to the audiobook. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. I love audiobooks, actually. I listen to audiobooks a lot.
Yeah.
Now, would you like to have Jim read it himself, or would the guy we had read it?
I would have liked Jim reading it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't think my voice is all that good, but anyway.
Yeah.
There we go. If
I was driving from Sydney to here, so it took half my journey. It was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you did that. I think they're great, actually. The great thing about audiobooks is that you can use it during dead time. So if you're driving, or in my sense, exercising, or even just having a shower or anything, you can listen to an audiobook and you're always interesting things coming in. There's some wonderful stuff around. And with Amazon, I use Audible a lot too. You can get anything, and it doesn't cost that much.
You'd be nearly in the top 1% in Amazon, wouldn't you, for listen time, or you'd be right up there?
I don't think many people would.
No, you'd be right up there, I reckon.
It'd be fascinating. I just so many interesting books.
Yeah. And the motivation, how you keep yourself motivated, is that the purpose of the business is your purpose?
Well, if I had an ultimate purpose, it would be to do with my research project. Because as the book says, I never started out to be a businessman. I started out to be an academic. I wanted to understand how society works and how to help people to change it for the better. And the business became the way of achieving that, making that possible, which I can now fund, because most people can't put a couple of $1 million a year into a research program, but I can. Yeah. So purpose is very important. I think people should always live for something bigger than themselves. And I admire people who sacrifice so much to achieve great things. And I think that's what good life is about. That's what happiness is about.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for that question. Thanks for listening to that audiobook as well. It's a pain to get done, so if you want to get it, it's on gyms.net on the books.
We should get the new version done because the new book.
We should get you to read it though, I reckon.
No, my voice isn't that good.
I know, but you're saying feedback.
Oh, come on. He's just flattering me. He probably thinks I've got a terrible voice.
We might have to organise.
He's too polite to say it.
Look, we probably could organise the chapters. I mean, I can get that organised. Just need a budget approval and we can do all that sort of stuff. So what we'll do is, thanks for all those questions, guys. There's a couple of duplicates there which Jim touched on as well, so I didn't read them out. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away these prizes up here for everyone who is in person as well. So, Jim, was there any questions that you remember off straight off the top of your head that takes your fancy, or the boys over there behind there who was listening?
I like the questions about happiness and purpose. It was Gil, was it? Who was that?
Gil, yep.
Yeah, I thought that was a great question. I know other people ask very similar ones, but I like that. So if you want to choose whichever...
Which one would you like, Gil?
Prize you want.
I won't influence you in any way, but there's one that always goes first.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one would you like? Yeah, take anything. Which one would you like? Oh, whoa, okay.
Good on you. All right. It's
no worries. Yep. I had that for Kartik. I thought that was going to be for Kartik. Yeah.
All right.
What else is there? So we got the big one here.
So who you pick someone on that?
Oh, well, I want to give the green book to Kartik because Kartik read the this book and didn't know about the other book. So I don't know.
Just come and get one. We'll give you a copy. I've got one in my office.
All right, we'll give you a green book then, Kartik. If you come to the office tomorrow, I'll give you the green book as well. If you come up there. All right. What about the anything else top of your head, Jim?
What do you think?
What about the was it the energy one? How do you stay so energetic? That elicited a really good answer. Was that from Kartik? Kartik, yep. Which one would you like, Kartik? Anything? Which one would you like, mate?
But hang on a bit, isn't he getting the green book?
No. Sorry, I think I got the name wrong.
Oh, okay, all right.
All good. Yep.
Grab a book.
Or you can grab actually the thing better than the book.
Biohistory.
It's the biohistory. All right.
Good on you. All right. Well
it's
done.
still sitting there.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're interested in that, give me an email when you've finished reading it. We'd love to talk about it with you. That's very interesting topic.
We've still got a couple more things there, don't we? Yeah, we've got two more things, which is the bear and the Monopoly, Jim. What else is there on the top of your head, or boys behind there?
Yeah, I was a big fan of the is the book based on real life?
Yes.
Have we given that out yet?
I think we're going to give him the green book.
Are we going to give him the green book?
What else is there?
Otherwise, I was also determining new divs. Who determines new divisions, or how is a new division?
That's a good question. Yep. Come up.
Yep.
Give it.
What would you like?
Which one would you like? No, there's two. There's two things left. That's the one I'm being. Yeah, that's the one. Everyone knows. Oh, we'll take that one. All right. Okay. No worries. All right.
Hey, what about the audience? Does anybody there like to talk about what do you think was the best question that we haven't already mentioned? Which question do you find the most interesting in terms of what came out of it?
Anyone?
You can't nominate your own question either. So.
Otherwise, if we're looking for someone for the Monopoly, why will I succeed? The question from fencing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good
one.
Yeah, why will I succeed?
All right.
That's a good question.
All right, you got the Monopoly, which is the one which normally goes first with everyone who comes here. This is the first time ever this has gone last. So there you go. There's the fencing ones. So thanks everyone who hanged around here, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the training experience for 3 days. And obviously Jim will hang around for a little bit if you want to talk to him, and make sure you catch up with everyone at lunchtime as well. If you want, all that sort of stuff. And we do this every training week, so if you do want to jump on and say good day to Jim, you can come on, leave your comments, and thanks to everyone who left the comments online. We'll leave it there. Thanks for your time, Jim, and your great answers, and thanks to everyone who provided some great questions and hanged around for this. So thank you very much.